former Chicago Police Superintendent Richard Brechek later said, James Lewis was an asshole, but he wasn't the Tylenol killer. Despite all the circumstantial evidence and the gut feeling of so many investigators, the case against James Lewis was never a slam dunk. For every piece of evidence that pointed to him, there was a counter-argument, a shadow of a doubt that kept prosecutors from ever charging him with the 7 murders. The biggest problem for the prosecution was Lewis's alibi. At the time of the poisonings in late September 1982, James and Leanne were living in New York City. They had a paper trail, rent payments, job applications, placing them on the East Coast when the poisoned bottles were put on Chicago store shelves. Is it possible he secretly flew to Chicago, committed the crimes, and flew back without anyone noticing? Maybe, but it was highly unlikely and impossible to prove. Without anything placing him physically in Chicago, a murder charge just wouldn't stick. As former Chicago Police Superintendent Richard Brechek later said, James Lewis was an asshole, but he wasn't the Tylenol killer. James Lewis was the perfect suspect. He was a convicted extortionist with a dark past who loved to play mind games. He fit the part of the villain perfectly. But in the American legal system, fitting the part isn't enough. Without direct evidence and with a solid alibi, the case against him for murder remained what it always was. A compelling, deeply disturbing, but ultimately unprovable theory.